Okay, it works out too that it's farther away because you're much.
Yeah, that's a good angle.
All right.
How do you start this off?
Welcome to the Nothing Much Just Chillin' Show with your hosts Emma and Julio. Nothing much, just chillin' show. Nothing much, just a chillin'.
Welcome back to NMJC, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Emma, and this is my podcast called Nothing Much Just Chillin', where we chill. And today we're chilling with a really good friend of mine, Josh Romero. He is a business owner, a creative in many ways, a friend of mine again, and most importantly, he's a fiancé.
I am. Hello.
I want to talk first about how we know each other. And it is because of your fiancé, Maya.
Yes.
I actually don't remember the first time that we met. Do you?
That we met.
Because I just remember Maya talking so much about you that I felt like I already knew you when I met you, but I don't know like the exact moment when we met.
No, because you all met at LA Fashion Week. Oh, it was for that one Canva shoot. Yeah.
The graduation
the graduation
shoot. Oh my God, that was okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because I was helping out there.
Okay, yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I met you, and then I remember like telling Julio after, I'm like, we have to hang with Maya and Josh.
Yeah, because I remember you talking about Julio too.
Yeah.
And just like that he did music.
Did you meet him when? No. I think you met him when he picked me up. Though.
Yeah, he did pick you up.
Okay,
That's right.
All right, so that was the first time we met.
Yeah.
But since then, you have so generously hired me a couple of times through your company, but I want to talk about the first time that you hired me for something.
Yeah, that was special.
That was really special, and it was the proposal.
Yeah.
How long did you know? Like, how long did you have this plan for the proposal? I mean, I know last minute we like changed things, but like that you were like, okay, I need to buy a ring.
So it happened in 2022.
Yeah.
In August 27th, 2022. I remember the date. She doesn't, which is good.
Oh my God.
That's my edge. She probably remembers it now, but I knew at the beginning of 2022 I wanted to. I was just trying to figure out when. And she tours as a photographer with a brand called The Pretty Cult. Mm-hmm. And there was one stretch of time where she was gone for like 40 days, right? And I was like, that's plenty of time to plan an engagement.
Totally.
And I like to be extra with a lot of things, right? I don't like to do things the way that everyone else does, or like, and I love surprises too. I was like, she has to not know a thing before it happens. Mm-hmm. She was gone like 2 weeks prior to this, and then she was like back for like 10 days, and then she was gone for 40. So I did a little bit of digging in that first like 2 weeks. I think that's when I was like trying to find the ring. Yeah. And she didn't tell me about like what she wanted, so I was like trying to find the perfect ring, which she
never told you what she wanted in a ring.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, I spent a lot of time like going through Etsy and everything, but then realized that like Etsy's rings aren't the best.
Oh, okay.
Like their
Good
stones,
to know.
Their stones aren't the best. Sometimes they are. But then I found the perfect ring, and then like I got it, and she came back like the day after I got it. So I had it hidden in like a HomePod box because I was like, she won't check in here for anything, right? And then she left for the 40 days, and that's when I was like, okay, I need to do something that's like really cool, right? Mm-hmm. She had been talking about how she wants a vacation, and I did too. And I was like, great, I'll kind of set it up like we're just going to go on a vacation together, like a little weekend getaway to have some time off. And one place we had always wanted to go was Big Bear. And in Big Bear, like the whole thing is like there's a big lake, right? Right. And I was Big like, Bear I Lake, bet they have a boat that I could rent. And
also, for those who don't know, Big Bear is an hour and a half away, or 2 hours?
Like 2 hours.
2 hours away from LA.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a big ski place. So during the summer, it's not that expensive, right? And I was like, I bet they have a boat that I could rent. And I was like, it'd be super cool to do it on a boat. And just like be like, oh, we're going to go on like a little boat trip. And then just like pop the question, right? And that's exactly what happened. But like, I was also like, okay, if this is going to happen, it also needs to be documented forever.
Right.
And it needs to be documented well. So I was like, you are like one of the better photographers who I know in LA.
Oh, thank you. That's
Besides
so nice.
Maya. Sorry,
Right.
I
Oh
have
my
to
God.
say that.
Oh yeah, she's the best, obviously.
And I was like, okay, it'd be super cool to like bring you and Julio up like secretly to Big Bear the same time that we're going, and like have it to where like you can like be somewhere that like can see the boat where it's gonna happen, and like Maya not know, and like so like we have to like keep it separate. So probably like 20 days before it happened, I think is when it texted you, because it was the beginning of August. And it was like end of August that it was going to happen.
I was so excited when you texted me. I was like, oh my God. Yes, of course.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so what we're going to do is like, you are going to, we had planned that like, it was going to be like, you were standing on like a pier somewhere.
Yeah. In this like cove area of Big Bear.
It was called Boulder Bay.
Yeah.
And you would be like standing on a pier in a disguise, something like that.
Yeah.
And like, I would like rent a fishing boat. I wanted a fishing boat specifically, because then like you wouldn't have like a canopy and rails and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
and I just thought
it's
it would
like
look cool.
Just the boat. Yeah.
Like,
it was for the
metal
aesthetic.
boat.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that was the plan. Like all this time passed, and it was like the days for like we were leaving. I had a Airbnb for you, and you were getting up the same day that we did.
It was funny though, the night before we were like texting each other to like make sure that like where Julio and I were going to explore in Big Bear and like out to eat and stuff like wasn't where you guys were going out to eat and to explore. So we didn't like run into each other and just have to be like, oh hey,
because Big Bear is small.
Yeah,
right?
It's small. There's only one like little town village area.
Yeah. And so we were sharing locations then too, just to, like watch each other.
Yeah.
But also what was really funny too was you didn't have a long lens at that time, right? And so like what I actually did too was like Maya had a 70-200. And so I like secretly packed that without her noticing and put it in my bag. And then like I was like, once we got up there, I texted you that we were going to dinner. Yeah. And like I hid the lens like in a bag behind the grill.
That's
at
so
our
impressive.
Airbnb.
That's so impressive to me
and
that you got it past her, like packed it and then just left it outside.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, we're going to dinner. Go pick it up from behind the grill. Yeah. And so like all that went well, but then like the morning of, I like went to scope the place that we were gonna shoot it, because like the night before you were like, I don't know if we could fit a boat in here.
Because when we went there, it was really late at night, so it was kind of dark. But I couldn't really see. And then I started reading like reviews online of Boulder Bay and how like most people can't get boats in there. So then I started freaking out, and I was like, oh no, I don't. It might be too shallow. Yeah.
Which sometimes you can, because like this year, Maya and I went up at like the end of June or something like that. You could totally like just pull a boat into there.
Oh my God.
Like, no problem. Yeah, like it was not as shallow as it was. But like when we went, so like that morning, I realized we both forgot our toothbrushes. So I was like, I'm going to go buy some toothbrushes, but I also used that as a time to like scope out the place, right? Like went there and we were like, yeah,
that was pretty slick.
Right? And it was like, yeah, this won't work. So then like it was going to happen in like an hour from then, I think. Yeah. So we had to like find another place. And like what we ultimately settled on was like, okay, you all just rent a pontoon boat and like get out there and like keep your location shared, and like I will just find you.
Yeah, in the lake, like in my location, it was just like you were. What do you fucking call it? Boating over to me. What do you call that? It's not swimming. Is it just boating over? I don't know.
So.
I don't know. You were going towards my location, and I like kind of told you like where to stop. Or like where to try to be to get the best lighting for it.
There were lots of other boats out there too. So it was like trying to find you. But you told me like
especially because we were in disguise too.
Yeah, but you told me like you were in a bucket hat.
Yes.
And Julio had like a trucker's hat on.
Yeah, because we didn't want to be recognizable to Maya, so we were both like in the middle of this like wearing hats, sunglasses, and masks.
Masks, yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and then you were just like pretending that you were like photographing the views or something.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll get into that part when I have Maya on.
Yeah.
But
so we were getting ready to go out there, and I was like, I want to be in a boat. Like, we're going to take a boat trip, right, to Maya.
Mm-hmm.
And so she, like, got dressed like you would on a boat, which was, like, you know, shorts and, like, open shirt and all this kind of stuff, like, very, very casual.
Yes.
And I was like, maybe we, like, take pictures on the boat. So, like, can you wear something nicer, right? And she was like, okay. And, like, put on jeans and, like, a long-sleeve shirt. Well, I put on a long sleeve shirt and she was like, why are you wearing that? Like, we're going on a boat. And I was like, it's for the pictures. Just trust me.
Should have been like, it might be chilly out there.
Yeah. And she trusted me. So that's good. Like, didn't really ask many questions. But definitely thought I was
she had no
weird.
idea.
Yeah. And so then, like, we're going out there. You were already out on the boat. And we were walking up to the pier. And she was like, is that our boat? And pointed to a pontoon boat. And I was like, no, it's one of those. And, like, pointed to, like, one of the, like, dinky fishing boats that we were going to get in. And she was like, what are we doing? You know? But, like, she didn't know at this point. Like, she still didn't know that, like, anything was going to happen.
No. Your plan was
like,
working beautifully.
Yeah, she was just like, oh, this idiot, like, did a bad job planning what we're gonna do.
Oh, he can't afford a bigger boat.
Yeah. He, like, wants this weird fishing boat that's gonna tip over. Yeah, it was really funny. But, like, she just kind of goes with the flow with me, which made this a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, like, we get in, we're driving out. I'm trying to figure out how to use this thing because I've never driven a boat before. Specifically like a fishing boat.
That's also crazy that this is what you decided to do.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna go on a boat and I'm gonna drive it for the first time ever while I proposed. Girlfriend.
Which is really funny because also too, I know in a lot of other places, like, to rent a boat you have to, like, do, like, a training and, like, all this stuff,
right?
And here they didn't care. It was like, if you have a driver's license, you could buy a boat. You could rent a boat. So, like, we're going out. As we're going, though, like, she's having a good time and starts playing On the Pontoon, which I forgot who made that song. I want to say Flo Rida, but bumps. It's not a romantic song. It's like a club song, right? Or like a song you'd play on a boat. Right. And so we're all going out, and I'm like, this song's not going to work, right? And, like, I see you all, and, like, I'm getting close to you, and, like, you're very unrecognizable. So I, like, get pretty close, right? And then I'm like, can we turn off the music? Like, I just want to, like, look at the nature and, like, take it all in.
Peacefully,
again, she didn't question anything.
She's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then, so it's, like, all still. I turn the boat off. And then at that point, like, I think you noticed that, like, something's about to happen. And I told you we were going to stand up.
Right.
So, like, I get her to stand up, and, like, she's all looking over. And, like, I did have, like, a whole speech planned. And it started with, like, standing up and being like, this is what I want, you know? And I knew she was going to say this. And, like, I planned this to be part of the speech. Right?
Oh, my God.
And I was like, this is what I want. And she was like, what, a boat? And I was like, well, a boat, but with you. And then, like, kept going on.
Right.
I won't, like, share the whole speech because it's cheesy and
it's
embarrassing.
All good.
But
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but, like, at that point, like, we were standing up and, like, everything happened, and then, like, I got down on my knee and, like, asked her, and she was totally unaware.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Like, she was totally unaware of it happening. But you got the moment.
Right.
And it was great.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
Yeah. And then, like, she's all crying, and, like, we're all hugging and everything, and she's like, I can't stop crying. And I was like, you need to, because we have to take pictures. And I pointed over at you. And, like, we just started waving at each other.
Like, yes, like, taking off our, like, our disguises. Like, hello,
and she's like, what the heck? Yeah. So
why are Emma and Julio in the middle of Big Bear Lake?
Yeah. It was so funny, but it was so good. It was perfect.
A very well executed plan.
Thank you. I spent a lot of time trying to figure all this out, and, like, I called the marina, like, way ahead of time and, like, booked the boat and been like, do I need a license? Like, all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And just, like, making up all these excuses of, like, why we're doing all this stuff in Big Bear. That seemed weird. Like, being in a fishing boat and, like, why I wanted her to, like, not
wear
wear, like, fancy clothes on a boat.
Those are, like,
and all this.
Turn off your music, Maya.
Yeah, exactly. It was really funny, but it worked out. It was perfect.
No, it worked out, and it was perfect. It was like I said, incredibly well executed.
Yeah.
And I I feel like that is true to who you are. You execute things very well as a boyfriend, now fiance.
Yeah.
And as what you do for work as a business owner.
Which you made me aware, like when we were in Seattle recently. You were like, you're always someone trying to find the most optimized way to do something. And I'm like,
I know.
I am.
Yeah.
Turns out I am.
This is Josh. He just always, he loves his Apple products. Like, as you can see, he has on like his Apple Watch, and you'll just like, you'll get a notification. This will be a notification. And then you take out your phone, and then you.
Yep.
It's just he's all about business all the time.
This is the iPhone 15.
And yeah, he got the new iPhone 15. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I love Apple products too, but you definitely have way more than me.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah, me too. I love the credit card.
Yep.
That's my favorite. But yeah, I don't know why I was the one to point that out to you, because I feel like you should know. Like you're just a person who loves optimizing, and I think that's like also I mean, not to get so much into astrology, but like you're Capricorn sun, Capricorn moon, and then a Pisces rising.
Yep.
And I'm a Pisces sun, but I've always said like I wish I had Capricorn in my big three, because I wish that I was like a harder worker. Like I'm really a hard worker, like with whatever I'm doing, but like if I'm not doing anything, like I'm chilling. You know what I mean? Like I'm never like, oh, I need to be working right now, or like I don't feel productive if I'm not like doing something. Like I love not feeling productive. Like I love just like doing nothing, and I feel like that's not you. Like
yeah, on the other side though, I need to
chill.
Yeah. Honestly.
No, totally. Like I wish we could all just have like a balance of it all the time, because I just feel like I'm too chill of a person, and I need to have like more discipline in me, and also like Capricorns they're good with money and good with business, and I feel like that's because Josh is very impressive because he's only 26.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Incredibly impressive that he's only 26 and has this amazing advertising, would you call it an agency? Or advertising agency. And I want to talk about that now, pivoting from romance to business.
Yep.
Your company is called Lavender.
Yes.
First off, why is it called Lavender? Where did you come up with the name?
It's my favorite color.
Oh, perfect. It's literally the color of this table. Oh, I love lavender. Lavender is one of my favorite colors now too, because of this table. So that's just it. It's your favorite color.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that your favorite color ever, or is it just like one of your favorite colors?
Okay. It's kind of changed a little bit. It is still one of my favorite. It used to be my absolute favorite. Okay. Now I'm all into that like blue, where it's like if you're on like Illustrator and you just pick like their default blue, and it's like intrusive and like obnoxious and loud. Like
cobalt?
I think so. Yeah, I think
that's what it's called. That's like the color that you use for most of your lines stuff.
Yes.
That's cobalt.
Yeah. Okay, cobalt.
Cobalt, or I feel like growing up I called it royal blue.
I think it's just like a quintessential blue.
Quintessential blue,
you know? It's just like when you think of the color blue.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
That's my new favorite color.
Okay.
But before 2023, it was lavender. And the company used to be called Romshua, which is just, and it actually still is. It still technically is.
Oh.
Lavender is a DBA because it's way easier to do that than to fully change your name.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Romshua, my name is Joshua Romero. I like came up with Romshua as my first Twitter handle forever ago. And it was available everywhere. So I had like the domain, I had like the email, I had the Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Twitter, everything. And so when we started the company, I was like, I own this everywhere. Let's just do this. No one else will confuse it with anything.
Right.
But there was a lot of just like branding questions of like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean?
And
like people calling it, and like there's actually apparently like Romusha, Romusha, is really close to Rumshua.
Uh-huh.
And I think it means like slavery in Japan or something like
Oh
that.
my God.
Yeah. And so we changed it. So
Smart.
our color though was lavender, like our brand color.
Mm.
And like we were just like, what if we just lean into this? And so like we did everything, like we saw like how we could spell it and what domains we could get, and we ultimately just landed on lavender with the last E dropped.
Mhm. Yes.
Because that's trendy and cool and fun.
Of course. Yeah. It's all of those things.
Exactly.
No, I love it. I love the name. I love the purple branding. I think it's like it's really unique.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start Lavender? Or well, when did you start the company?
Yeah, 2018. It was
And you were
April,
still in college, right?
Yeah, April 1st, 2018. I started with two friends, Noah and Mason. They are still around. We're still the three owners of the company. But since then, we've changed a lot. But right now, we are a team of 6. We have the 3 owners. We have 3 full-time employees. And then we have 1 part-time employee.
Cool.
So technically 7.
Yeah. And then you also contract out people
Mhm.
for
Yeah,
specific
we like
projects.
contracting and partnering with people a lot.
What's like the main client that you guys are trying to attract?
Nonprofits.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. And it's changed a lot. I think that anyone who wants to start a company should not start a marketing company. Because when we started it, everyone and their mother started one because of Gary Vee.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was super popular, and I can't say that was not an influence on like why we did it. Right.
Does Gary Vee have a marketing company, or
Yeah,
was it?
that's like his thing. Yeah.
I thought it was just a media, or I guess it's a marketing media.
Yeah, it's a
company?
lot of, it's pretty full service. So he does, not him, like his companies do like almost everything from like.
I've met him.
Really?
Yeah.
How is he?
It was so funny. Like I thought I was so prepared to be like, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
Like before I went in, I was like, this guy is going to suck. He's going to put down my female client in this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just was so prepared to be like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna like him, just because of like how he's perceived online. And
totally.
this was like 2018.
Okay.
But I went in and he was the nicest fucking
Interesting.
person.
Yeah.
Like so nice, so kind, so never interrupted my client that I was working with, was such a good listener and had such great advice for her, and was really kind to me, and it was really kind to all the workers of his in the room. Like I was just like, okay, yeah, this guy is like,
Yeah.
he's great.
Yeah. And like I believe that honestly. Like he definitely is intense. I actually wanted to work there for a little bit. And like I was talking to like a recruiter there. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it sounds like working there kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's a huge company.
Yeah. Yeah, and it keeps getting bigger.
Yeah.
He definitely knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that means like he knows that just trying things and seeing what sticks is like a strategy. Like that's definitely something that like I think he does.
Yeah.
And he does it well. Like the work his company does too, like VaynerX and like all of the subsidiaries, like is honestly very good. And it's like scaled a lot and is like a big player now. But I think too, like he sent shockwaves where like everyone in 2018 was starting some sort of social media company, right? Him and like Ty Lopez was pushing that too. And like
here in my garage.
Here in my garage, and just like creating like this huge oversaturation. And I feel too like almost like took away credibility for people who are trying to do it for real, because like everyone was just hyping up doing it, right? It's also just like a really challenging market to be in, because like it is very oversaturated. So I'm like, if you're wanting to start one, don't, because it's tough. Like, and I think though, like at the very least, what we've learned is like if you can find a really specific niche, and if you have like these skills that you want to service people with, like might even be better to stay independent, like do it as like a freelancer, but like have a niche and just like go all in on that, right?
Yeah.
But we started with kind of this mentality of like, we're going to do social media, we're going to do video, we're going to do photo, we're going to do everything. My background was as like a freelance filmmaker and
photographer. That's how you started. Yeah.
Which like, I mean, I started this company when I was in college, which means like I was a child when I was doing all that as a freelancer, like through high school. started in middle school, things like that. So when we like formalized it, it was like I was just kind of like making videos and doing photos. And
Were you doing that stuff for nonprofits?
no, not at that time. So
Okay.
we were just trying to get anyone who we could get, right?
Yeah.
Like our first one, which we actually did for free. It was just like a test to like see like what we would do and like just have a client that we could put on the website. Was Low Bear Coffee in Albuquerque, which I'm still really good friends with the owner.
Which that's where Josh is from.
Yeah,
Forgot
I'm
to
from
say that in the beginning,
Albuquerque,
but
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yes, yeah.
Born and raised. Yeah, so still good friends with like the owner there. We still get coffee at Little Bear, which is great. They also still have very good coffee. I love it there. But yeah, we just did that for free. And then our next client, we ran social media and created content for their social media for 2 months for like $400.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like ridiculous, right?
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. And like I've never had a client be more mad at me during it. And it's like, I don't know. It seems like as people pay more, they start to care less and like get mad less. It's really funny.
Yeah.
But like we were chewed out several times by these people who paid us $400.
I feel the same. I feel like that's the case. The people that pay me the most are the people who ask the less questions, and the people who like are getting discounts or like I'm doing it for really cheap. They're the ones who have the most feedback, the most to say.
Yeah,
totally.
Absolutely. So we were just kind of like servicing anyone and everyone. We worked with like a company that built Land Rover Defenders, which that was actually sick.
Oh, cool.
We worked with just like these different like little startups in New Mexico, different like food and beverage places, restaurants, coffee shops, et cetera, which I feel like is where a lot of people kind of start. You know, the stuff that you could see. The stuff
local
that you can,
businesses.
Yeah, the stuff that you can like drive down the road and see and all that kind of stuff. But in 2020, which was like the real shift for us, because like I was in college when I was doing it, so was all of the other people who were working on it with. Like the people who we would like hire were like friends and stuff who all had like other jobs. Like I had other jobs too. It wasn't a full-time thing until around 2020. So I honestly sometimes consider like when we really started was 2020.
Oh, wow. During the pandemic.
Yeah. But like what kind of started this whole idea of like working with like impactful organizations and nonprofits was like we started working with the New Mexico Department of Health to like do COVID messaging.
Oh.
Sharing.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah. Sharing when like we were doing before vaccines, it was like testing and tracing and like how to get tests and like all this kind of stuff, how to stay healthy, and then like trying to navigate through lockdowns, which was like a very challenging thing to do when everyone was pissed about it and like businesses were having to shut down. Yeah. It was a tough reality, is that's what we had to do. Yeah. And like it saved a ton of lives doing that. It was just doing all that messaging, right? And then that kind of like sent us in this new direction. We started talking to more organizations like that. We started kind of like refining our ability to like have messaging like that. But ultimately too, we realized that it's like, that's the kind of work we want to do, the stuff that can like actually impact people's lives.
Can make
and
a
like,
difference.
Make a difference. Where it's like a lot of companies like might start with the idea of like trying to change the world, but like money is a very real thing. Stakeholders are a very real thing. And like ultimately companies come down to profit, right? Which is fine. Like I think that like that can create a lot of jobs for people, that can like create, you know, different ways of the world working. But like for us, we've found like a lot of love for like working with nonprofits and people who are trying to like actually make an impact in communities, because like I think that's who's actually going to like change the world and like make the world a better place and leave it better than they found it. Especially too, because they literally cannot try to make a profit off of it. You know, like that motivation is just not there. So it's like motivated by these other things. And I think too, a lot of nonprofits are still like lagging behind corporations as far as like how they're messaging themselves. And I think that the people who we try to work with and like the team who we built inside has like really good taste and really good like ability to like decide what's good and what's bad. And that will be very useful to like help companies like feel more like the for-profit companies are like getting the attention from like good design and good video and good photo and just like good content.
Yeah.
A lot of it still feels very legacy, where it's like being made by like old school people who just don't know what's going on in 2023.
Right. Like, what would be your advice for companies like in 2023, like looking towards like 2024, of like the main things that they should like focus on in their messaging or in their branding?
I mean, it's amorphous because it's like just kind of being responsive to like what's important to people right now.
Yeah.
And like what, not even trends, but like how things are being communicated, right? Because like you could say like, oh, well, you need to be doing video, but it's like a lot deeper than that, because video 10 years ago looks a lot different than video now, right? And even then too, like you have to still do video right. Where if you're just not good at it, people won't like it, and like video will be useful. Or if like you're following these trends that are totally irrelevant to who you are and like the people who you're trying to reach, it just still won't work, right? So it's hard to say, but it's like the most important thing is know who you're talking to,
right.
And like seeing what they're interested in, what they're consuming, what captures their attention, right? Because I mean, like right now too, you see a big like Y2K resurgence in design.
Yeah.
And I think that's specifically for Gen Z, who's starting to see that as vintage. Whereas if you were to hit like a millennial with that, it might be like
nostalgic.
Yeah. And then if you were to hit like a Gen X with that, it might be like, why does this look so bad? You know?
Yeah.
Because it's funny, because like a lot of times you might look at it and be like, this is bad.
Yeah.
Like this is not well designed, but like that's kind of it. That's the point.
Yeah.
You know? So
it's the aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just like knowing who you're talking to and like
knowing who the audience
current.
Of the
staying current
of the brand is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to thank you for all of that. That was very generous.
It's always fun to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, you are the creative director of Lavender, but in your own time, you're very creative, and you have a camera. It's the Fuji X100. X100. Okay.
Yeah.
Fujifilm X100F. It's such a nice camera. I love all the pictures that you take on it, that you post. But a lot of the pictures that you post from it, I don't know if there's like a setting in it to take in black and white, but you usually put it in black and white. And your photography, there's always like a big contrast in your photography, if that makes sense. Like there's always like a light spot that you have in like a dark spot, and I feel like that like taking photography that's like very contrasted like that, I feel like works the best with black and white. And I wonder why, like, is that why you put your pictures in black and white?
So on my grid, I do this thing where like every other one is black and white. So I do color, black and white, color, black and white, color, black and white. But with the photography that I do, which is like very street photography, right? Like I like to just walk around because I live in downtown LA.
Right.
Like to just walk around with a camera and just like snap, right? And just like see what I can get, which I'm like very nervous with it.
I was
like,
just about to say,
I wish I could like walk up to strangers and just be like, "Can I take your picture?"
Same. I wish I wish I was that ballsy too.
And there's this guy who like
hard.
fascinates me, who I just started following. His Instagram name is @jet.la. It's like JETD.la.
Okay.
And like, so one thing that I try to avoid is capturing homeless people in downtown,
right?
Or people who just look like they are
like out of their mind.
Yeah, because like I think that there's this aspect of like if you're not like doing it intentionally, it's like trying to capture like a really grungy essence, and then like you're kind of just like, I don't know, using these people for like content, right?
Yep.
And so I typically try to just totally avoid that, right? Like when I'm shooting strangers, it's just like people who are walking around, right? I don't want to like be using unhoused people or people who like have
as like a prop.
Yeah, exactly. But Jet is very intentional with it and like has the gusto to like walk up to these people and just be like, can I take your portrait? And they're incredible. But also he does like on his stories and everything just talk about like I mean, part of it for him is just like real human connection.
Yeah.
And like especially with people who like you may not typically think about connecting with, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And he like really shows like the personality of people who like are typically like pushed out or like totally ignored.
Right.
But for me too, it's just like being so unafraid of other people in the sake of art, where it's like even with me, like I just don't want to like ask these people, you know, even and like not even like unhoused people, but just like normal people. Like I just don't want to be like, hey, can I take your picture?
Yeah.
Right? It's really stressful for me.
Yeah. Well, it's a very stressful thing. Like honestly,
Yeah.
like times that I have done it, like have had the balls to do it, it has not gone well. Where it has like scared me from being like extroverted like that, like, hey, like I'm a photographer, like can I take your picture? Because some people are like, oh no, like I don't look good today. Like, and I'm like, oh, okay.
But also part of me doesn't like asking people, and like I try to not be. I have seen some street photographers who are just like kind of rude with it.
Yeah.
Where like they will get in people's faces totally unexpected with like a flash.
Yeah.
And just like snap their picture and then move on.
Yeah. And that like,
and I'm
like
that
feels
just feels
icky.
rude. Yeah. So for me, it's like what Jet does is really phenomenal, and he's like really trying to tell stories of people. Also, his light is amazing. I'll just use his profile. What Jet does is incredible. Like he's capturing photos of like a very real group of people who live downtown, right? Who are typically like ignored. But at the same time too, like a lot of it's very like posed and staged, right? And like I want to try to like find moments where it's like just spur of the moment.
Candid, yeah.
Totally candid. And that's also why I kind of don't like asking people or don't want to ask
because it's
people.
like, oh, well, now they're aware that this picture, that this camera's on them. Yeah. Well, his style kind of, it reminds me of like Humans of New York.
Yeah, very much like that. Yeah. But it's like honestly it's next level. Like they're
I'll have to check them out.
Amazing portraits. But all that to say, like, so I don't really plan anything, and what I've found is I really like how light looks at like 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. At least like during like whatever we're in right now, where the sun sets at like 7. Yeah. Where it's super intense and hot and like not even grungy, but just like not clean. Yeah. Like the times where like a photographer would be like, I cannot shoot in this light. Right. I think something about downtown does make it easier because you get a lot of reflections from buildings and like it's kind of like filling in some gaps. Totally. Yeah, like I really like to have like a very clear separation of like light and dark, and like especially as people are walking, which is usually what I'm capturing, like I like for them to be like crossing that boundary into like white or into dark. And something about it just like feels so...
Well, it's like they have like a spotlight on them, you know?
Yeah, something about it just feels so, I don't know, stark and like unexpected. Yeah. Some days I'll go shooting with like a color filter on it. Some days it'll be black and white, and I just kind of alternate between the two. Cool. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so cool. It's a lot of fun.
Wait, does that camera have interchangeable lenses?
No.
Or just has one lens? So you just you bought like filters for that?
No, it's like built-in filters. So the camera mimics film stocks that Fujifilm,
right.
Like real film stocks that Fujifilm puts out.
Yeah, it's a sick camera.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun, and it's like the TikTok camera that like you can't buy it right now because like TikTok got their hands on it and totally sold it out. Mine's the F, which is actually like 7 years old. Oh. The V came out like 3 years ago. I bought mine. I was super lucky. I found it on Facebook Marketplace for like $800, and it was in like good condition. And like now, this 7-year-old camera, you can't really find it for less than like $1,500-$1,600.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing. Now that I'm looking at the NMJC design, like the wavy lines, is that you've started an Instagram specifically for this newfound passion of yours. But, well, I don't know if it's newfound. I wanted to ask you if doodling has always been a hobby of yours. But Josh has recently been drawing lines.
Yeah. So a lot of this comes from like, it's a dangerous thing when your work becomes, it's a dangerous thing when your passion becomes your job.
Oh, don't I know it?
Making videos, which I don't really even make videos anymore, right? Like that used to be what I did as a passion, and I started doing it for money.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of like the leader of my company and like the creative director, which means all I really do is like come up with ideas and then like try to communicate those ideas with people who are like honestly much better than me at like making videos or taking photos and all that kind of stuff. And so now like my work and like my video passion kind of like sizzled out, right? Mm-hmm. And even being creative at work start to not scratch that creative itch that you get, right? Where it's like, I need to create something, right? Because like it's literally my job, which is like honestly one of the best jobs to have.
Yeah, totally.
Like I'm glad it's not something else. And like it still feels very fulfilling and creative and interesting and like, you know, gives me a lot of energy throughout the day to like keep doing it, right?
Totally. But of course you're gonna have to have other to make other forms of creativity for yourself that don't have anything to do with your business and making money and all that. Yeah. And
so with that, I started having an existential crisis where I was like, what else should I do, right? And like just kind of started exploring so much stuff. So like I was a musician growing up. I was never in like a band with friends or anything like that. I was in my church band.
Oh, nice.
So I did that. But also that kind of turned into something where it's like I was doing it like every Sunday. So it was like I just kind of like it also became a job.
Yeah, right.
So I started like trying to learn a lot of piano again, which has been fun. I'm still doing that. The photography was like, why I wanted to do street photography is like, I don't want to have to make a plan. I don't want to have to like take pictures of like products. I don't want to have to try to sell anything.
Your only job is taking your camera with you for the day.
Yeah, exactly. And then like lines came from actually to another thing I started trying to was DJing, which I still like do that a little bit just on my own. But lines came from this whole thing of like I just started like drawing these smiley faces in a way that I really liked, right? Which was fun and like it was cool, but like started to feel really limiting.
Yeah.
And then I just started like taking that same approach where like I really like every smiley face was done with like a single stroke size, like a rounded edge, right? And like I just started kind of like doodling with that. And I was like, oh, this actually looks kind of sick. And just like I kept doing it and kept going and like making all these different designs, and all of them just kind of felt like this own like little slice of like a world. Yeah. And like started to feel like, I don't know, it feels like aquatic to me.
Right.
Like you're tiny little animals living in the water.
But also like I mean, I know you do it on your iPad, but you also were doing it like physically, like with a marker.
I do some
like
on canvas.
Like on a canvas.
I want to do more canvas, and like that's another thing too is like I want to do more physical stuff because like everything I do and have done is digital, and like being able to like hold stuff and print it out or like even just like have it on a canvas already.
I feel the same. Like I want to do more physical. I mean, even with like painting this table and like all like home furnishing stuff, I was like, I like to get like my hands dirty doing things because I am just so like, it's great. Like I love my job, but I get so upset just staring at my computer all day, and I'm like, I haven't like gone outside. I haven't like touched something else but my keyboard. Like, it's just it's good to have that like physical, like to do something physically and then be like, oh, okay, I feel a sense of accomplishment.
And like honestly, that was a big part of it too. Is like with lines, like why I think I embraced it so much, to the point where I like started like an Instagram account for it, and like I'm just doing it kind of like almost every day, just like on my iPad, because the thing is like it feels creatively fulfilling, like it scratches that itch, and like I like it, but it's not hard, you know. And it's like I'm not trying to make it anything, right? Like I started the Instagram account to like just share it and like share these things that like I'm doing. It's been fun too, because like friends who have liked it, like I'm just like showing them like appreciation for like the support by just like making some stuff for them.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm not trying to make it anything. Like I'm just trying to like use it to like feel creative and like explore like
totally.
And like like doodling is not something I had done. In fact, like I had always told myself and like thought, which like honestly was true, that like I'm not good at drawing. Like just doing art with my hands like on a canvas is not something I'd ever been able to do, and like when I've tried it wasn't good. So the fact that like this was, and that people were responding well to it, I was like, oh, this is fun, I'll just keep doing this, and like it still is fun
because it's so clean. It's one, it's like very therapeutic to see you doing it, because it feels so like seamless. It feels like I just picture you being like so zen doing it, and that there's like not, it feels like there's not a thought behind it, but then everything feels so like purposeful, and
there's no thoughts behind it.
But it feels like, oh, this is like, he wanted like this dot here, he wanted this line to connect here, but just seeing you do it so like effortlessly, like that's why I love watching any art videos like on TikTok, Instagram Reels and stuff. But it just feels very zen.
Yeah. And it's fun too to like have something that I can like hang up in my house, or like make my phone wallpaper that's mine. Or just like make things for people, because that's something I did too with the street photography. Is I bought like this little printer. I haven't done it in a while, actually. I should, but like I'll print out like my favorite shots and then just like give them to people. Yeah, because it's fun to just like have something that you made that like you could just like give to people.
I know, like, I feel like that
just for fun, or like for their birthday, or like I don't know.
I'm trying to get. I have my screensaver is a film picture I took of the pier in Santa Monica at sunset, and I wanna get that right here. Like I want to print it out and put it above this pink dresser. But I was also gonna say, like, I was gonna ask you today, like, so are you gonna sell these? Because like I want one. Like I want.
Oh, like, you can have one. I can make you one.
I want one so bad to like put up, because our apartment is very, very colorful, and I feel like having like a blue or like a yellow one would be like really, really fun.
I can make you one.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
like or like put one in the kitchen, like this wall right here on the other side. Like I feel like I would want the one there.
And that's what's funny is like it takes me less than a minute to make one. You know?
Yeah.
And so like I don't care, but like I'm trying to figure out like if I do want to sell it, which I think I do.
Because for the materials too, like canvas isn't. That's
like,
not cheap.
Like if someone's like wanting a canvas, like I would have them like pay for the materials. But it's just like I don't think that just because you're making money off of something, it becomes bad or like becomes your job.
Right.
Drawing lines probably wouldn't ever become my job.
Right.
But I think that like having kind of like things to sell also kind of forces you in some ways to be more creative of like what else can I make, what else would like people like.
Totally.
Because it is like for me and like for what I like, but also too like I don't want to just like be doing it in a vacuum if I could get better. And I think that like people buying something is like real feedback of like if something is good, right? Because I do want like whatever I'm making to like just keep getting better and better and better, and if I'm not getting that feedback, it won't get better. But like
that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
To look at criticism too.
So it's like I want to sell something, I just don't know what, I don't know when, I don't know how, and like I'm not going to force my way into it. Yeah. Like I want it to be Yeah, and like with Lavender, it's very business focused, and like the goal is for us to make money. Right. Like we are there to make money, right? But with this, I want it to be a bit more natural, and like I want to like find where it's like, okay, now feels like the right time to sell something. Yeah. It's not something I'm trying to make money off of, but I think that like if it comes, I'll embrace it. Yeah. You know, I just don't want to force it.
No, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I love that you and Maya both do this. You both like print out your work and put it on your own walls. And like I want to have like photos that people want in their homes. And the past few weeks, some of my friends have expressed interest in having prints of like my pictures of Snoop Dogg
Yeah.
that I took, and I'm like, oh, like I should get a print
Yeah,
of
totally.
my Snoop Dogg pictures to put up in the apartment.
Yeah, I've really been on this thing recently too, because we just moved, and like I've also
Yes.
become obsessed with like interior design and like
Yes.
furniture.
Yeah.
Like that's another one of those like creative obsessions I've had over the
Yeah.
last like year or whatever.
Well, also I think being a Capricorn,
Yeah.
you're an earth sign, and
Yep.
your space, your home is really, really important to
Yeah.
you.
But especially because like in our new space, everything, actually no, not everything. What I was gonna say is like we are on this. I'm on this kick where it's like, I think that everything that you hang up should be either something that you love or something that you made. To me, it's mind blowing that people will go to like a Hobby Lobby and be like, I'm going to put this art up on my wall, when it's just something that they saw.
Totally. I agree.
That means nothing, you know? Sometimes like really cool artists will do collabs and like people will find that out. But it's like, I think that like it should, like mean something to you or be something that you made.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because it's your home, you know? And it's like, I think a lot of artists too feel weird when they put their own stuff up. Maybe if it's pictures of you, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, I honestly.
But we have that. Like, we have some self-portraits of Maya up. Just because they're cool.
And I love that.
You know?
And I think it's really cool. And I think when it really clicked for me of like, oh, this is not like a weird thing, is when one of my clients rented out a Pure Space once. And it was like an artist house that she was renting out to people. And when I went to the bathroom, there was just a nude of herself. Like It was just like a nude of herself, like in the bathroom. And I was like, wow, that slay. Like that's so amazing. Like I love that confidence. Just be like, yep, well, this is my bathroom and this is how I look in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's funny.
So no, I feel like it's not indulgent at all. Like I feel like it's a flex. Yeah.
I mean, you should be making things that you're proud of too.
Totally, yeah. And that's why, I wanna hang up some sunset pictures, and then like I want not a nude, but like I want some picture of the ocean, like in the bathroom, like something like that.
Yeah.
So
well, and I guess like that honestly is to my approach with all this personal stuff is like, because another thing too that I've done before, I haven't done it in a while, but like is make music, right? And a lot of the time with music or with like line art or with photography is like I am just making things that I wish I had.
Yes.
That like I wish someone else had made.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like the songs, like I would do a lot of remixes, and I'm like, I think the song would sound better if it sounded like this, and so I'd make it so I could listen to it, right?
Right.
Or like with the line art, it's like, because one thing I have always liked is line art. I mean, I have like a line down
lines
my
on your
arm,
arm,
you know?
100%. Yeah.
My favorite artist of all time is Chantel Martin, who's a line artist. And yeah, just like line art has always been something that I've liked. So now I'm just kind of like contributing my own to that.
Right.
Because like I wish I had this.
Yes.
You know, I wish that someone made this. Same too with like the photography that I'm getting. Same with the DJ mixes that I'm doing, whatever. Like that's always my approach. It's just like, what do I wish someone else had made? And I'll just make it.
Yeah, I feel like it's again with like the optimizing thing, like optimizing
your
time by
I'm so bugged that I don't have this.
Yeah.
I just need to do it myself.
Make it. Yeah,
I'm just gonna do it myself.
Exactly. Okay, I thank you for coming on
This
NMJC. I wanna end by asking you if you have any optimizing tips, like what, like, or a life hack, or like something that you use all the time that you think that everyone should know about in any way. I don't know if you have any. Use Apple products.
No, that'll not optimize your bank account.
Oh yeah,
you will lose. I think right. I think you could figure out a lot about what's not right, or what's missing, or what's frustrating you by just writing.
Do you write in a journal?
Yeah, it's like an electronic, like it's on my Mac. It's just like the Notes app.
Yeah.
But like a lot of mornings I will start out and just like write whatever's on my head.
Yeah.
Or whatever's in my head. Especially to like the things that are frustrating me. Like I'll just start writing and just start exploring it. And then like usually like it will actually help me figure out like what the solution is.
Oh, I love that.
And I think like a lot of what's happened over the last year, me like exploring all these creative things like photography, and I've been writing more too, which is actually another thing I've been doing like that. Photography, lines, etc. It's just because like I'm writing it down and like organizing my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts to make a lot of things make sense.
Yeah.
It's called morning pages. It's like a thing that people do. And it's like unstructured, whatever's in your mind, 10 minutes, just do it.
It's a good little like just self check-in every day too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people go through life like not really know, like if somebody asks them like, how are you? They're like, I don't know. Or they're like suppressing so much that like when they finally have like a break, it's like really bad, or like they do something like self-destructive, and it's very, I mean, I feel like it's become more trendy in culture too, to like be more in touch with your emotions, like being more in touch of like where you're at, where your headspace is, and then take on your life from that. So I feel like that's really good advice.
Because and like why I started doing it was I want to say it was like in an Austin Kleon book called Show Your Work, which is a really good book. You should read it.
Okay,
it's really short. It's really short.
Okay.
It's a trilogy actually. It's Steal Like an Artist, Show Your Work, and I want to say the third one's called Just Keep Going.
Oh my God. I need all of those.
They're really good. They're very good, and they're very short. Like you could probably read each one in like 2 hours. He said in it, and I think he quoted it from someone else, but sometimes you have to write to know what you want to write about. And I think like that's talking about like writing specifically, like you'll figure out what you want to write if you just write about it. But I've also found too that like if you write about like what's frustrating you about like how you schedule your day, you'll figure out what your schedule should be.
Yes.
Especially if you don't have one, you'll figure out what it should be.
Yeah.
If you write about like something that keeps going wrong and you don't know why, you'll figure it out. If you write about like why you can't like scratch a creative itch, you'll figure it out. Like all the answers are already in your head. It's just like organizing everything.
Right.
And writing is a great way to do that.
You already have the answers of like how to optimize your life, make your life better. Yeah. If you just like sit down and think about it and write about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I love that.
It's fun. It's helped me a lot. It's great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can see that like in everything that you're posting and producing. Like, I feel like I really need to do that because when I'm like working so much, I neglect my creativity, my self-care. Like I neglect so much when I like have so much on my plate, like work-wise, like client-wise. Yeah. That I don't have a routine. Like I have no routine like in my life, and I need to write about that. I need to write about how I can better schedule my time and make sure that like I have time for the things that are most important to me and like keep me sane in the midst of like all the work.
This is not a short response, but I have another thing to add to it.
Oh my God, please.
Because like now I've actually just been doing it for a year.
Yeah.
And I know that because like the app that I use is now being like, look at what you wrote a year ago. Is
Morning Pages an app?
It's called Day One.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, is the app that I use. It's basically just like the Notes app.
Okay.
It's nothing special. But like what it'll do is like, look what you wrote a year ago. And it has also been really interesting to see like how, you know, day by day, like you just make these incremental changes and like nothing feels like it's changing.
Yeah.
But like I've been looking back at what I wrote a year ago and I'm like, a lot has changed.
Yeah. I'm
way happier than I was. I'm like doing more of the things that I wish I was doing a year ago. Mm-hmm. And like it's also just kind of like that validation of like, okay, things are changing.
Yeah.
You know, and like you can look back at like all the things that you did to like actually do what you wanted to do. So it's great.
That sounds great. Okay, I need to get on that. Day One, that's what it's called?
Day One, but Apple's actually releasing their own journal app later this year. Oh. So.
Of course you would know that.
I would know that.
All right, Josh. Thank you so much for chilling with me. Thank you for being on NMJC. Loved having you. My hair's kind of frizzy. Your hair looks great. I'm glad you had it down for this. I was hoping that it would be down.
Yeah. Maya told me I had to have it down.
She did?
Yeah.
Were you about to put it up? And then she was like, no.
She just told me that would look better if I had it down.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay.
Honest.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you guys for chilling with us this week. I'm gonna link all of Josh's stuff in the description, so you'll have to follow him and all of his work, and Lavender. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye. Love you.
Love.
Nothing much, just a chillin'.